Okay, so today I think I want to talk about the holidays. Right now I have a full house. All my children are here, my stepchildren and my biological kid. So we have a total of 7 kids here. You can hear my son yelling in the background. Um, and so it's gonna be like that for most of the week. And so that's gonna be real challenging for me to be consistent. I already didn't really want to make this video because today was a day I kind of want to just um, do nothing, right? And because I also get like, I'm still trying to figure out what maybe I'm an introvert on the spectrum because I'm very social, like I like to socialize, but I definitely get my energy from being alone. And so when it's a lot of people in the household, it's hard for me to stay focused on what I need to do, as I talked about before in other videos. So anyways, nonetheless, so I also wanted to bring up the fact that I'm also planning a party this week. And today I realized I also am feeling over capacity. So this was something I dealt with a lot when I worked in corporate America. I felt like I had so much on my plate all the time. And what I learned from that is that I don't know when I'm starting to get at capacity until it's too late and I'm already over capacity. And B, what helps me is to ask for help, but it also feels counterintuitive to ask for help because I'm an independent person. And so my thoughts are that I'm going to have to this week reintroduce all the things that I was trying to work on before in corporate America again, when it comes to like sharing the workload and delegating and allowing people to be responsible for things without my input and trusting that they'll get them done, and also just supporting them to get them done without having to have my hands in the mix. And that's something that's very, very unfamiliar to me. It's something logically I know how to do, but in practicality, it still feels very like awkward when I try to get help doing things. And not really because I like control, but more so because I struggle with feeling worthy by doing, right? Like, I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to like, it has to be done perfectly right. But I am more like, well, if, like, why don't I do it? Because then that makes me feel good about myself, right? Until bam, I'm like, I got so much shit to do. How the hell am I going to do this all? So saying that to say, this is an opportunity for me to be reminded of the mantras I had given myself previously about asking for help or getting help when I need it and not being over capacity. I actually don't even remember them because I haven't utilized them in a while. Since I've not been working, I've just left the space open for me to fill up more and more things. I realized that, and I knew that was actually something that was going to be a challenge for me too. But I think that I'm definitely going to have to introduce trying to notice when I'm at capacity sooner, or when I'm getting at capacity. One thing that really started to work for me was just feeling my intuition. Like, even before I put something on my to-do list, like, or when I'm creating my to-do list for the day, like checking my intuition or my inner knowing and saying capacity, right? And I found that when I did that, I immediately was like, no, I gotta take this off, you know? So just getting back into that space, getting back into feeling comfortable, delegating tasks and like full-blown responsibilities in perpetuity to other people. Yeah, because I feel like I'm getting back into that space where I'm like, too much on my plate. How am I going to get it all done? And it's like, because you're not supposed to get it all done. And then I do this weird thing where I feel overwhelmed, do nothing until the last minute, and then kill myself trying to get it all done. And then that also coincides with how I'm learning to love giving myself ample time to get things done, right? I think I've spent most of my life just getting things done in just enough time. And when I started to give myself the space to get things done in ample time and not like waiting to the last minute to do things, it has been very like calming and peaceful, and you get to use your creativity when you give yourself ample time. When you wait to the last minute or have just enough time, you only have time to do what needs to be done. You don't have time to like enjoy doing what needs to be done and doing it in a way that makes you feel fulfilled. And you know, that's my whole quest these days, is to be feeling fulfilled. So even when I woke up today, I was more like, okay, I have something to do, right? But I don't feel like, I feel like it's a have to do, right? And so I think about things in terms of have to do, need to do, and want to do, right? And if everything on my list is need to do or have to do, something's wrong. And I feel like I'm getting back in that space, right? So I need to like rethink the things that I have on my plate and like put more want to do's on my plate. And the beautiful thing about it is that have to do's and need to do's can easily turn to want to do's, especially when we talk about giving myself enough space and giving myself the time to be creative enough to do the have to do's and the need to do's. Because then it turns into, oh, I want to do this because I get to exercise my creative freedom while I'm doing the thing, right? So something as simple as like doing the budget can turn into a want to do. But I haven't really been utilizing that, I think, since I've stopped working. And that was a really powerful tool for me when I was employed, because it helped me make it through the day. Like, it brought life back into my work. And I think I forgot that just because, you know, I'm now home and it's like, I don't have the stressor of being around people who I don't agree with or who are making me do certain things or whatever the case may be. I thought it would be kind of like, I think in the back of my mind, unconsciously, I thought it would be just natural for everything to be a want to do. But I think I'm learning that I still have to frame things in my mind that these are things you want to do. These are things that make your life so much better, either by you being able to create peace in yourself, in your life, and giving yourself the the level of whatever that you deserve. So when it comes to doing the budget, just you deserve to be able to know where your money goes, right? And where your money's coming from. Like you don't deserve to like be scraping the barrel, living check to check. Well, for me, no check to check because I ain't got no check. But you know what I'm trying to say. Like, yeah. I think I've elaborated enough. So, but then there's also the things that I just truly just want to do. Like, express myself creatively by writing and speaking. And just trying to get more of those on my to-do list and doing them. I feel like my whole life, and again, I think I've talked about this in previous videos, like it's so common for me to know to do the have to do's and the needs to do's, but I really don't feel comfortable, I guess is the best word to use, doing things that I want to do. It doesn't feel natural. I don't think I've been groomed, and maybe groomed is a bad word, but because I think groom has a negative connotation to it. But I haven't been taught to explore things to do things that feel good for the sake of just doing things that feel good and not doing things that need to be done, right? And I kind of feel like that's a poor people's mentality, except for partying. Like partying and drinking, like we don't have no problem with that. Like that, just for the sake of doing it, like that is a-okay. But anything outside of that, it kind of gets like sketchy. And yeah, I feel like that's all I have to say about that. I kind of got a headache today, so I feel like I was more so rambling than having clear, thought out thoughts. But that's how a diary goes. It's just every day is gonna be different, just depending on how I feel. So yeah, so I'm still struggling, y'all. Like every day I'm struggling to gain consistency. I'm struggling to learn myself, to know myself, to become myself. And I'm glad to be going on this journey with whoever chooses to watch it. And it feels very like awkward to like be right here in this space and place, being so inconsistent, being so like lost, so to speak, but also feeling very hopeful and positive of the ultimate outcome, and really feeling very settled in that this is a part of the process, the feeling of loss, the feeling of not being consistent. So letting it not bring me down, so to speak, but feeling inspired that I'm on the path. But something else just came to my mind that I wanted to talk about. Ooh, so I could have talked about this yesterday, but I didn't make a video yesterday, so this one's gonna be long today. So the second thing I wanted to talk about was comparison, right? I think that I feel like I've always had like a semi-healthy relationship with comparison, right? I've never been overconsumed with comparing myself to other people as it comes to education or achievement. I've always been very, very like confident and comfortable with what I have achieved in life, and not look to others that have achieved more and felt like I'm behind. However, I have had a weird relationship with like appearances and comparison. So what do I mean by that? Like how somebody dresses, how somebody carries themselves in the world, how put together they are. And I feel like that's something that I've always kind of felt like I wasn't good at. So I always felt like I was less than others who are really good at that. And so saying all that to say is that as I've gotten older and I was in my career and I wanted to jump out into other endeavors, I started seeing myself comparing. Oh, well, let me backtrack, right? So I'll say it like this. So now in hindsight, I'm realizing, so I had those thoughts as a kid, like comparing myself to other people, maybe like high school and stuff, college, to other people, the way they dress and appear and show up. And like in hindsight, now that I'm older, I've realized that I put these people on a pedestal for something that I perceived that they were really good at, and put myself lower on the pedestal just because, but not really having a full picture. And now like looking back on some of the people who I put on the pedestal that I know more closely now, or know more about their lives, like we were always on the same level, right? They might have dressed better than me, but I had so much more attributes that were better than them. Like I've always had really good mental health. I've always had a really pretty good relationship with my parents. So I've had close family relationships. So on and so forth. Not much drama in my life. Really good self-worth. So things that these people did not have. So that and such that they had to show up dressed a certain way in order to appear that they were okay, right? It's my point. And so now in hindsight that I can see that these people are still like struggling with those things, and I now recognize that they never were above me, and I just put them there. Now as I'm endeavoring into this new realm and I'm seeing other people on social media who are doing the things that I would like to do, I'm starting to compare myself in a way and putting these people on a pedestal as well because they're able to do XYZ better than me, right? But what I've realized now is like I'm doing the same thing I was doing with the way people were dressing. And if I can right now realize and recognize they are on the same level as me. Just like the people who dressed good were on the same level as me back then, and then I didn't recognize it. In this present moment, I want to do really, really well with reminding myself every time my mind tries to tell me that these people are above me, that they're on my level. Just because based on what I see on the thing that they do really well that I'm not yet able to do really well, that does not make them better than me. I mean, there are so many great things about me, like just my self-awareness alone and my ability to have empathy for others is great attributes that I have that others don't, right? I'm forever the empath, and a lot of people don't have that character trait. And so anyway, saying all that to say, like, it's been very rewarding and gives me a sense of calm when I say that to myself. So I want anybody out there that struggles with comparison to like try to think about that. Try to say, you know, I see that this person is doing this thing that is better than me, but behind the scenes they probably got some stuff that I'm really way better at them at too, right? And you should try it. It's really, I feel like it's so healthy. I feel like it's very, very healthy. And I really feel like it's the way that everyone should show up in life and kind of be like, nah, we all the same. Like, and I think in our American society, money is really, really the thing that we try to judge each other by as less than or better than. But I think it's a really terrible measure. But then I can make a whole video about that. So anyways, I'll just leave it at that, and I'll talk to you guys later.